Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Savage Patriots. We are without our Asian persuasion today. He is having work conflict, so he alerted us. So it's not like we told him
Yeah.
not to come on. He's working, so he's trying to get that bread.
Yeah.
So
And I notice everyone's probably looking at our shirts, how we're all in sync. This wasn't planned,
it was
just
too.
to let you know.
It wasn't.
We just all happen to wear the same color shirts today.
We're starting to synchronize in our thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like in sync.
Yeah, instinct.
The savage sync.
The savage stinking.
The savage thing.
Everybody.
It's just a green shirt day.
Yeah.
So we got a trifecta of topics today.
Just like a
Lights,
shirt.
lights meaning the what's put on the Biden and what is it called, impeachment process. The camera is to deal with the new tax or fee. Sorry, fee. If they call it a fee, they don't have
Fee.
to have anything voted on. So a fee for having congestion in your city. If you got a car, you got a fee to pay.
Mm.
And then we're going to talk about a couple other things to do with action. Zelensky getting more action over there in Ukraine. So we about to hit some lights, camera, and action. So don't go too far away from your computer, phone, or TV, because we'll be right back. All right, man. Oh, all right. Let's tackle Ukraine first. How much more money is Ukraine getting? $100?
I don't know.
Billion? I don't know.
More billions of dollars.
So the last
When-
one was 24 more billion is what they were asking
Yeah.
for. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure they'll get it. And I think they'll get it because they have to get it. Otherwise, what's happening over here will start to become more plain. You're going to see Zelensky starting to squawk about some things. I'm just saying it might happen. What are your thoughts?
Didn't he get on camera not too long ago and pretty much
Begging?
beg
Yes.
for money, beg for a loan, So the man is desperate, and for you to be that desperate for another country's money, there's something else going on there. It's your country, support your country, fight your war. Why are you begging for money from the American taxpayers? When the majority of the American taxpayers are against it, they only show the loud minority who are pro helping Ukraine. But the majority of Americans are tired of intervening and paying our hard-earned money to help other countries when our own country needs help. So he'll get it. He'll get it.
This is the latest here. He asked for money, and he says the White House says it is out of money and nearly out of time to provide more weapons to Ukraine as it tries to ward off Russia's invasion. I thought they said that they were winning the war, but hey, that's just me. Unless
They were
Congress
never
acts
winning.
to approve additional funding and support. The warning issued Monday in a letter to Congress leaders laid out how the government has already gone through about 111 billion appropriated for Ukraine military aid.
The funny thing about this whole thing is they mismanaged every single one of those funds. And now Zelensky canceled his U.S. Senate address. You remember those ones he's been doing where he goes around professionally begging for money at various different places, and how he was the talk of the town not but a couple of months ago until Israel became the new darling of the war party.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now Zelensky, like, he should have negotiated. He should have told the English and the U.S. to go F themselves. And he should have done a deal with Russia when they had one, when they could have kept something. Now they're keeping nothing.
So
That's right.
So he's a panhandler now, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's a panhandler.
He's
But
an
the
actor.
funny thing about this is they mismanaged those funds so badly that they were reporting, even the DOD and Austin, the Secretary Austin, that's what it is,
Yeah.
was saying that they told them, hey, stop blowing so much of your ammunition on these attacks that you've been doing because you need it for your counteroffensive. And they said, nah, we got it. We'll be all right. And then the counteroffensive never materialized in spring, and now they've basically lost. I mean, they've been making some games, but they are never getting that eastern portion of Ukraine back. They're not getting Crimea back. They're not getting the Donbass back. They're not getting any of that back. Russia won what they wanted. They never wanted all of Ukraine. All they wanted was that section, that land bridge to Crimea. That was it. That was always the end game. And they won. They won the victory. That's what they wanted.
But it's not even like Ukraine stood a chance. Let's be honest about something here. Okay, even with our intervention and giving money. Okay, I see it like this. It's like you're watching a cup that has a crack on the side, right?
Yeah.
And you have water and it comes in the cup and it just keeps spilling out the side, and you decide to take toilet paper and just kind of fill the hole a little bit, and you realize, oh, it's still coming out. So you take more toilet paper, and you'll never fill that hole with enough toilet paper for the water to stop coming out that hole. And that's how they're treating this thing. Throw money at it. Everybody knows the money is not going towards the war. Let's just be honest. The money is going into Ukraine. Why do you think Zelensky is so hell-bent on getting that money? Because he's been using that money. Have you not seen the streets of Kiev? They are in better shape than any metropolis in the United States.
That's right.
They got misters everywhere, and for a wartime place, that place looks like that's vacation spot to me now. Unless I'm blind.
Yeah, and then you have to ask yourself, where are we getting all this money from? And if you think about it, it just goes to show you that our money's worth nothing, because if this money was tied to something as it should be, they wouldn't be getting the amount of money that they're asking for, because the amount of money that we're sending them would have to match what we have in gold or silver or precious metals. So it just goes to show that all this money is based off the labor of the American people. And there's not enough people working and paying taxes in order to keep up with the debt that they keep talking about. We can't keep up. And if you look at the debt clock, you'll see it. The debt clock keeps dropping, but the people are still working, because all this money, this fake money that we're giving away, is just adding to the debt. And then you have to ask yourself, well, who do we owe? Who are we getting the money from to send to Ukraine that's keeping us in debt? So I say give it up.
It's a very interesting thing. They will not be making any headways as far as I'm concerned. What's this tab? What's this?
Which one?
The one that you have up.
Oh, that was just the Zelensky one. But there's later on in the one later in the article is the fact that they're talking about, like, the Republicans were asking for it was the border funding. They wanted to tie border funding with the Ukraine funding
money.
Yeah, which I think is ridiculous. It's like, dude, your first thing should be the border. Like, Ukraine is something else. Like, that's a different story. But if you can't even secure our own borders, then why the hell are you even giving money to anybody else in the first place?
No, exactly. Did they talk recently about building a border for Ukraine?
Probably.
I thought I had seen something about them trying to send money to help reinforce a border over there. I thought I had seen that, but
it's the biggest problem with that money where they got to put, if there's always an if, we will do it in line with this. They're always trying to meet these bipartisan deals. Bipartisan. Nothing should be bipartisan if it involves another country. Period. There should be no deal if it's not about America. If it doesn't have America's interest in it, we don't want to hear about what's going on over there when it comes to money. All of our money is going into our own country, and that's what we don't do. We're always trying to make a deal with the Democrats. Oh, Israel. Oh, this country. Oh, we'll give you this if you do it for this country. So you're sharing resources that should be going to the American people with other countries, but you're giving these other countries more than what you're giving your own people.
Right.
Doesn't sound very American to me.
No. It's always funny that everything is non-partisan. Like, they'll never agree on anything, right? Until it's like giving money for a war or for another country. Then it's bipartisan support. They're always more than willing to give out your money to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Freaking
hilarious.
Commies.
It's really hilarious to me, because while they're all talking really in detail about what they will and won't do and how they send and what they won't send and blah, 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 None, absolutely none of them are telling you what the breakdown of the funds are.
Yeah.
Not,
Or where
not
the
one
money
of them.
is.
Not one. So I'm still confused as to how you can say that this is taking place and this is taking place, but you have not told me one time what it. Normally, if I'm giving money to somebody and it's mine, okay, and they say it's for this, this, and this, and it's a pretty large amount, I would like to know that what you're actually using that fund for, especially if it may involve something that might end up being illegal. I might want to know and see a breakdown of the funds. But if you come and tell me, well, we can't give you because we don't know where it went, then I'm definitely going to send you a second round of money, much less trust you. So then I need to know exactly, how do you not know where the money went? And if you were that concerned about it to begin with, wouldn't you already have a process in place to know what the money was being used for? So in other words, you didn't care. You were just trying to get money. So that must be you're doing something illegal with it. That's the only thing I could think.
That's
Of
right.
course, if I'm not a thinking person, then I probably wouldn't care what you're doing. So
And you know what's funny about sending money to these countries is that there's never an audit, right? So as the taxpayer, we should know. Let's say the taxpayers, hey, agree. Let's send money to Ukraine. We agree. We voted as taxpayers. We agree. Let's say that in a fake world. So the money they send a couple $2 billion. The American people should be able to see where every single dollar is spent. That those countries should be audited. We want to know where this money's going, because they throw out a blanket statement. It's for weapons. It's for the war. It's for this, that, and the other. That's not true. Like Marlon said, that is not true. We know that they're using the money for their own infrastructure, for building their own things within to make their city look better than most cities in America. So I want to see where the money's going. Just like the majority of American people want to see where the money goes.
There's already been tons of articles saying that the money's being pocketed by a ton of oligarchs in Ukraine. Like this is known fact and reporting of people just taking the money and doing whatever they want with it. There's embezzlement everywhere. People are just taking money like there's no tomorrow. And just so you know, that this is the current map of the Ukraine war. This is like the live map. And these lines haven't moved since spring. This is basically the same way it's been since the beginning of this year. They're at a stalemate. There's not going to be any other movement. And as much as they want to say Russia's going to like plow through Ukraine and then go into Europe is stupid. There's no reason for him to do that in the first place. The whole reason he's taking this is because, like I said, this is what he wanted to begin with. He wanted to take a land bridge, this land bridge, to Crimea. Because the only way they had access to Crimea was through a bridge right here. That's what this whole war has been about. It's taking this region right here. So now that they've got that, they don't need the rest of it. So like this is all going to be... Yeah, they never wanted it. The only reason they were trying to take out Zelensky was so they could install their own puppet and give them another buffer state again. That's always been the Soviet Union and Russia's goal, is to always have a buffer state between them and the EU or Europe. That's how it's always been. So yeah, that's the state of the war. And that's where your money's going. That is right here.
That's going nowhere. In other words,
nowhere. And
it's a proxy war.
And you know how I am. I it's good information if it's real, but I still don't trust the maps they're putting out, because that could be a way for them to show us, to say, hey, look, we did send the money, and here's a map of the war, and here's a map of this, so you guys don't get all angry. So of course they can produce something to show us something. But people on the ground, people are there, that we've seen video footage from Ukraine, from actual citizens, and what they're showing us in media and what they're showing us, things like this, the people on the ground aren't really seeing that. It's a totally different environment. They're having raves and dinner parties and all types of stuff in a war-torn country. So question everything.
Believe nothing. So Biden was recently asked about something to do with the money that he is accused of getting. I love this reaction. Here we go.
There's polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either legally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on it. I did not, and it was just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with any of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
The lies.
Oh my
All of it.
God.
Lies.
And you notice, like, he didn't even have an answer. You know, most people, like, if somebody's bold-faced lying on you in front of the world, you would say that is a lie, and here's why it's a lie.
Mhm.
He just goes,
Lies.
"That's lies. Those are lies," and walks off like a Roomba. Just
Huh? What's that saying back there? Oh, say the word lies. Lies. Is that what it says? Lies. Yeah, it's all lies. Look.
Just
It's
to
all
say
lies,
lies.
Lies.
But
It's crazy. It's funny to me that there are still people that believe that he hasn't done anything wrong.
we were talking about it backstage. You know, people think it's a conspiracy, but nothing is a conspiracy these days. You guys got to believe that everything that was a conspiracy has almost come true. Everything that was said back then, and people were pointing the finger at people, it's coming true. You know, so the whole, you know, mind control, the psychological warfare machine that they do on American people, this is part of it.
Yeah.
They put enough disinformation or misinformation in front of the TV, and they say it enough that no matter what truth you show people at this point, they're still going to revert back to what they were taught back when they were spreading the lie. It doesn't matter what you show them. Just like J6 and all these other things that have been coming out showing that what they initially said was false, there are still people believing, calling it an insurrection, a violent insurrection. Just goes to show you that the smooth brains will be smooth brains for the rest of their lives.
Cat, it's because he has contract lens.
Yeah.
Not contact lens. Contract
lens. Okay.
Yeah.
They can he's a draconian lizard person. That's why.
he's a lizard man. No, I was gonna say is that we should stop calling conspiracy theories and just call us prehistorians.
Yeah.
Like we got it right. We're just early to the party, right? So, that's all.
Like
prehistorians.
You ever ask yourself this question? Let's say somebody very important comes out and tells you the truth about everything, just flat out puts his life at risk. It's like, here's the truth, and this is all documented, real stuff. Even if you did that, there are certain American people that would still not believe it.
I have one of those. You ready for this one? This is funny.
Mm-hmm.
You want to run for president in 2024?
Joe Biden.
Biden?
Yeah.
Why?
He's got a lot of experience. He's stabilized the economy after COVID.
Stabilized economy?
He stabilized the economy after COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I have like a huge list of like 5 things that I love from Biden.
Yeah.
So I love like 7.5% interest rates, very high grocery prices.
You guys are Trumpers, huh?
Trumper? Yeah. What does that mean?
You support Donald Trump. I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to this country.
How? Because he took the $250,000 from Ukraine. Oh, sorry, that was Hunter Biden. My
bad. Point. It doesn't matter. Now, when he started talking about, they always have to revert to you're a Trumper. Just because you search for the truth, and just because you see things differently, doesn't automatically make you a Trumper. It just means you see the truth, you see things for the way they are, and if it aligns with what Donald Trump is saying, so be it. But doesn't automatically make someone a Trumper.
Yeah, like look at me for instance. I never voted for the guy, but like I would still be considered a Trumper, even though I'm still having to defend him because they keep lying every single time about everything. And it's like, this is the actual truth. This is the truth. I can't say it any other way. Like you can't hand me a crap sandwich and tell me it's ham. Okay, like it's not ham. I can see it. I can clearly see it's not ham.
But nowadays they want to hand you a man-made piece of ham and say it's ham. So
that's the new pork.
Hide the truth.
The new pork.
Yeah.
Well, everything is perspective, right? And let's go to your ham analogy, right? The only reason, and I'm not really veering off, but I'm trying to bring things into perspective. So the reason we call it ham is why? Because we were taught to call it ham. What if somebody in another country that's never been around this, never been, and they call it Turkey. You know what I mean? So everything is how everything is how you perceive it. Everything. So these people perceive Donald Trump. Doesn't matter what you tell them. Doesn't matter what you say. They perceive him as this racist, anti-American traitor. That is embedded in their head, and you're never going to change their mind.
Yeah.
You know, they've been taught this. They've been taught it. They've been regurgitated. It's just like a school. You just keep saying the same thing over and over again. It's stuck. And I don't know how to get rid of it, but unless you give them lobotomy.
There you go. You do know.
Well, to continue on your analogy is like, yeah, you know what? You're right. They say it's ham because they change words all the time, right? So they're gonna hand you a crap sandwich and say, hey, that's ham. And it's like, no, it's not. That's poo. And it's like, no, we call it ham now. That's ham. Okay.
Exactly.
That is ham.
Yeah, that's all it takes. You can just change it. But
just change words of meaning. It doesn't matter. Like language is fluid, right?
Yeah, the left changed the word, you know, fascism and all that stuff. You know, they're calling us fascists while they're doing fascist stuff. But you know, that's just.
Well, yeah, you seen Rachel Maddow recently, right? What she said.
What?
The self-projection is real. She's like, he's gonna kill me, right? Donald Trump's gonna get elected. He's gonna like lock up his political opponents, and he's gonna kill journalists. And I'm like, you really think? And then he went on to Sean Hannity, and Hannity's like, say you're not gonna become a dictator, and it says, only on day one. That was on Trump.
He knows how to troll. I'll tell you that.
I know he was trolling hard. Obviously, nobody believes Donald Trump is going to become a dictator. Only the people that are trying to get him to not be elected believe this man would actually become a dictator. The only person who is closer to a dictator than anybody else in the United States right now is Joe Biden, right? Who is corrupt as they come and actually locking up political opponents in jail and keeping January 6th political prisoners for years and going back even longer than that to find other people to prosecute. Like they got prosecuted for that meme about voting by text, right? That's as fascist as they get, man.
It's funny that you say that, Coy. About the dictator thing. One of our favorite people has responded to that particular interview. Oh yeah, because you know you told him.
Is it the Stenson?
They'd freak out, right? Let's see the freak out.
Yeah, it's
well, he just said it. Donald Trump just said live on air during a Fox News town hall that he plans to be a dictator on day one of his presidency. He's going to be a dictator, not for the border, but for himself. So he can hold on to power for the rest of his life, go after people that he doesn't like, and more. Like, folks, I hope the overwhelming majority of Americans can agree that American citizens should not be voting for someone who claims openly that they're going to be a dictator, regardless of the reason. Donald Trump is completely against American ideals.
Notice he doesn't play it, right?
Against what we stand for here. And I hope that even the people who are Republicans can see him saying, I'm going to be a dictator, and say, yeah, that's not for this country. We don't do that here.
All right, guys.
More.
Bye, guys.
No.
That's not what he said.
Doesn't he like to play stuff to make sure that people see what they said? How come he didn't play it that time, Harry?
Because somebody would have dissected it and called him out, because they knew that some people with, normal brain activity understood that Donald Trump was just trolling and joking. He didn't mean it. But, the projection is real with that guy. Like, he's talking about locking up political opponents, like Coy said earlier. Yeah, that sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah, they always project the things that they're doing. So like this is how it went.
I want to go back to this one issue though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you. Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody,
except for day one.
Except for?
He's going crazy. Except for day one. Meaning? I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution. I'm going to be, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator.
So like that's coming from the words himself. Like that's exactly what he said. He's obviously dicking around, Jesus. Like nobody has a sense of humor anymore. Everything he says is serious.
But Harry doesn't know what a joke is, so you can't expect people like Harry. You ever seen that thing, Banana Phone? That little cartoon, ring, 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 banana phone. Yeah, he looks like the banana phone. That's what Harry looks. Harry looks like the banana phone, like this big stupid face. I think he grew up hated by his parents, and that's why he had to join the DNC, because they're the only ones that like kids that much to give them money to do something that they want for their pleasure.
And here's the reason why people like Rachel Madcow and the rest of these leftists,
Madcow,
they're doing this because they know they messed up. They know the smear campaign and the lies and all the lies they were pushing. Do you really think Donald Trump's going to get reelected and not come for them? He is going to come for them using the legal system. He's not going to go out and just stringing them up and doing all the tar and feather. No, he's going to. He's not dumb. All the smear, all the defamation, all that stuff they were doing, the lies, he's going to get them. And she knows it. So now they have to put him as this villain, this kind of dictator, to label him like that. So when it happens, people will be against him.
But if he were to be 100% honest and did what they did, like just copied them, that's all he did was copy them. Let's just say he copied Letitia alone, just her. He could say right now, when I get in, I'm going to make his life a living hell. He could say all that because that's what they said. They were going to make sure that he becomes at their thorn in the side. We're going to impeach the MF. He could say all the stuff they said while not in power, and still not become a dictator, because that's what they said. So if it's doing what they do, are you saying then by nature you are a dictator when you were saying it? So I think he should just make an ad where he puts all of them there and he just says, I agree, I'm going to do just that.
Well, it's campaigning on these AGs campaigning on locking Donald Trump up, abuse of power.
Yeah, Letitia,
yeah. But yeah, here's Rachel Madcow.
The Republican Party right now has to make a decision, and it's their decision to make. We have party processes for a reason, but ultimately, if you listen to what Trump is saying, you don't just sort of regard him as a spectacle, but you really listen to what he's saying. He's basically portraying a future for America if he is put back in the White House, in which we don't have another election after that.
That's right.
Because the elections are all rigged, that the democratic process can't be trusted, that Congress should just work for him, the Justice Department should just work for him. That's a strongman form of government. That's not what we have.
He'd cancel the news, like the news are done.
That he wants to put MSNBC on trial for treason so that he can execute us. I mean, this is...
And this is put Rudy Giuliani on the Supreme Court.
If he makes it that long, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it is that the Republican Party is, if they're going to elevate somebody like that to represent their party in a general election, not only do we have a 50-50 shot of him being back in the White House, any major party nominee has a 50% shot, but the Republican Party will have to reckon with that till the end of time in terms of what they did to this country.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Now, okay, I've heard stretches before.
That projection is hard, man.
I have heard some stretches in life before, but that one pulled a couple ligaments right there. That one was wow. I mean, I'm not opposed to what you say happening to you to happen. I'm not opposed to it. I want people to understand, if that happens to you guys, I'm not even going to feel bad. Like, if you are tried by treason and you are look, you're not going to get no sympathy from me. I'm just letting you know, because here's the deal. Your reporting has led to murders. Your reporting, Rachel, has led to people being murdered. Not inferred, like literally, it led to people being killed in the streets by your behest. So no, it's not hyperbole that you would get tried for treason. You are treasonous. That's not even up for debate. So if you get tried and are executed, you want us to feel bad for that? No. In fact, I would see that as a justification. That would be justice under the law. So if you are trying to be afraid of it now, don't be. You, since you are such on the side of ride or die, baby, ride or die.
Yeah.
If that's how you really feel, make sure you feel it all the way into the coffin. Ain't nobody gonna miss you, though. I mean,
they only want democracy when it suits them, right? Because like everything that she's saying is the thing that they've already been doing. Like the Democrat Party doesn't have elections. Right? Their primaries are rigged. We know that from like the last 2 elections where they shut out Bernie Sanders, and then they put up, they're not even letting them do any sort of voting, and they're not letting anybody primary Joe Biden. in the party.
Mhm.
That's not democratic. That's authoritarian, man. Like that's exactly what you're saying the Republicans are going to do to this country is what you're already doing in your own party.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, the problem with these journalists is that they think they're untouchable. Because you notice like one of them said, oh, they're going to put MSNBC on trial for treason. So they're trying to put themselves on this pedestal because as journalists, they're going to put us on trial for treason. But they would do it to the American, your average American citizen that did the same exact thing. They all should be tried for inciting riots,
sedition,
and treason, and many other things. Because the whole time during the riots and all this other stuff, and them burning down cities, not once did the mainstream media, these shills, come out and say, "Hey, we need to stop." Not one did the Democratic politicians, tell people to knock it off. This isn't the way to do things. They were actually promoting it.
And
that's like going
uprisings.
into a movie, encouraging uprisings. But then if a Republican did it or someone on the right did it, they'd be ready to throw them in jail, straight to jail for 20 years.
Yep. That's exactly what we're seeing now. Because like, look at 2020 in itself, right? Everything that happened on January 6th was basically a walk in the park, literally a walk in DC. That's what it was, right? Then you compare what happened in the Chaz and the Chop and all throughout the BLM riots in 2020, right? Those people encouraged an actual insurrection and seditious behavior to overthrow, especially in Portland with the Chaz and the Chops and all those autonomous zones that are happening. They literally took over blocks of cities. If that's not an insurrection or an uprising of some sort that they advocated for that led to the deaths of innocent teens in Portland that still have yet to be arrested. Nobody's been charged with that crime because, BLM only matters when it's inconvenient for your narrative, right? So these people have advocated for this for years. And her show particularly lied for years about Russiagate and perpetrated that lie for years in order to to obstruct governmental proceedings, which was the Trump presidency, right?
Yeah.
So these people have been doing all the same things that they're trying to get Trump for this entire time.
And they always talk about the First Amendment, right? And I'm a diehard constitutionalist, but that old saying, can you run into a movie theater and scream fire? No, you can't, because what do you cause? You cause chaos. People get hurt under the chaos. So it's no different than the way they were reporting on Russiagate, on everything else. The reporting they were using was causing violence and everything else that happened with it. Murders, violence, everything else. So what is the difference between the two?
Yeah. Well, that's what they're saying that Donald Trump did. He was inciting the riotous behavior on January 6th. But then you have to look at all of these reporters and all of these politicians during 2020 that were doing the exact same thing that literally led to losing city centers and deaths and billions of dollars worth of damages, right? An actual incitement to insurrection that caused the deaths and governmental property destruction.
Right.
Like there is a case there, but nobody's pursuing it. That's why the Republicans suck, is because they can go after them. There are things you can go after them for. The exact same way here. If they've already broken open the gate, why are you worried about it? Just do it.
They still think we have to play by rules when they realize the rules are no longer enacted anyway.
Democrats don't play the rules; they just change them.
They adjust. Yeah, and I think we should join them, adjust as they move, and that way they can realize that their rules are changing for everybody. Just a little bit of a break for just so people know, our channel only has 1,600 subs. Okay, by comparison, a channel that has 45,000 subs is currently live alongside us that has to do with sports. They only have 82 people watching, and we have 67 people watching, which means that our base is a lot more faithful. I just wanted to give you guys a shout out because I don't think that you guys get enough props for actually showing up to our show. So thank you for outdoing a channel that's 10, 20, 30 times more of a platform than we are. We really appreciate it.
Nobody cares about sports anyway.
No, nobody cares.
That's true.
Nobody cares.
So last topic, I'm going to have you listen to this. And I'm going to turn off the captions because I don't want to want to have you do anything. Just listen, because if you live in New York, I can't say I feel sorry for you because you voted, but if you didn't vote and you voted red and you got this anyway, I'm sorry. So listen up. Listen up. Hold on, let me back it up. Muted. There we go. Now
happens.
Since we found out just how much drivers will fork over under the congestion pricing plan, there's been a lot of outrage calling on the MTA to pump the brakes on the program.
But today, as Antoine Lewis showed us, there was a different message on the streets showing support for congestion pricing.
What do we want? Congestion pricing. When do we want it?
Supporters of congestion pricing rallied in Union Square Tuesday ahead of a key vote tomorrow by the MTA on its plan to charge drivers who enter Manhattan south of 60th Street.
Our first responders, ambulances, firefighters, emergency personnel, who are often stymied and delayed in getting to where they need to go. My friends, this is going to be transformative.
Congestion pricing is expected to generate $1 billion in revenue for the troubled MTA, enough to keep the wheels turning on its buses, trains, and subway cars for some time, transit officials say.
We're waiting for ADA elevators in every station. We're waiting for zero emissions buses. We will keep moving this forward.
Tuesday's rally comes a day after critics of the plan held a rally of their own, calling congestion pricing a cash grab. A breakdown of the proposed toll amounts include $15 for passenger vehicles, between $24 to $36 for trucks, and $7.50 for motorcycles. Taxi takers would have $1.25 added to their fares, $2.50 per ride for those who use an app to hail a ride, and no extra toll for drivers who remain on the FDR or West Side Highway. East Village resident Carol Putrechez blames the explosion of Uber and Lyft services for the additional vehicles on city streets. She was one of the opponents who showed up to this supporters event.
All these people who are like for congestion pricing, they take Uber and Lyft. Do they really care that those cars are causing pollution? No.
Nonetheless, among those who agree that congestion pricing will have a positive environmental and health impact because of fewer vehicles on city streets is one who knows New York City traffic perhaps better than anyone. Gridlock Sands.
There are lawsuits now. There are acts of Congress out there now. So to all of you, you've got to keep fighting if you want to see this through.
Now, on Wednesday, the MTA is supposed to vote on the proposed toll amounts. Wednesday will also kick off the public comment period, which, as you might imagine, is going to be quite lively. Reporting from Union Square, Antoine Lewis, Fox 5 News.
I got a few things to say about this.
Oh my God.
Let me go first, and then you guys can.
Okay. Well, here, can I get one thing out first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All those people that were at that protest, we need to make a shirt for them, for lefties. It says "Tax me harder, Daddy."
Yeah, that'd be.
That's all it reminds me of. It's like, here, take my money. It's like, tax me harder, Daddy. You know, just throw money at them. It's like, why?
Did she? I want to make sure I got this right, because I think I heard right, but I don't think I heard right. Did she just say this is because the ambulances and emergency responders are always held back because of how much traffic, and you're hoping that this particular thing fixes that, but at the same time, none of the money that you're getting from it goes to them?
No,
that's what I heard. I heard that right?
Yeah.
It's going to buses and free and public transportation, but not
public transportation. Yep.
So if you put more into public transportation, wouldn't that end up being the same problem, because the same people still have to travel that route? It's just going to be government cars. So how are you going to manage government? I don't get how this is going to help. Can anyone, maybe you two, have a clarifying? I'm lost.
At the end of the day, we all knows what this reverts back to. It reverts back to the Green New Deal. Let's not forget about the Green New Deal. That's still there. So if the best way to get something like this going is to hurt the pockets of the citizen. So if you're charging me $15 a trip each way to use a taxpayer-funded road that taxpayers are paying to fund that road and repair that road, then you're going to charge me extra on top of that while being taxed, and I decide I don't want to drive no more, it helps push the Green New Deal. That gets people off the roads into public transportation, which they always wanted.
Yeah. It's even worse than that. Like, for a party that seems to call themselves the party for the lower class and the poor people and the working class and whatever, they always seem to find ways to tax the poor. You know what I mean? Because like Rich people, it's like what, $15? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna keep driving anyway. But that's like somebody that's barely making ends meet already. You're like $15 every time, like $15 every time I go into the city. Are you kidding me? Like I got to get to work. Like what do you want me to do? Like it's ridiculous. That's how all these toll systems have been working, or they're going to sell it. So what they're going to do is they're going to build this system out, right? And then they're just going to give it over to a private corporation to tax you anyway and to get all that revenue. Because that's what they do in a lot of states. They set up the system, they set up the tax and the toll, right? And then they sell it to a private corporation overseas. Like in Texas, they have that one that was like the one in Austin, which is owned by a Spanish corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a U.S. corporation, a Spanish one. And I mean Europe, Spain. Not in Spain. Yeah. Not like in South America or
in Spain,
Latin
in
America.
the membrane. In Spain.
Yeah. So like they do this all the time where like you'll spend money on taxes for the roads. Then they'll create a toll road. Then they won't actually do anything to fix the roads. And then they'll sell it to a private corporation to keep all the revenue that they get from all of the tolls. It's just a poor tax. That's all it is. It's a poor tax.
Yeah, it is. Another way to steal the American people's money, and someone mentioned about emissions tests. You know, the purpose of emissions tests is to make sure that your truck or your car or your vehicle isn't putting out a certain amount of, smog or whatever you want to call it.
Emissions report.
Yeah, and New York has to get I'm pretty sure they have to get those emission tests. And then on top of that, when you're paying your state tax or your city tax, you're already paying a tax for those roads.
Yeah.
So now, like I said, that people are paying a tax, plus they're getting charged another toll, and that's both ways. So if you're working 5 to 6 days a week,
$30 a day at least.
$30 a day times 5, that's $150 to $180 a week extra that you're paying, not even counting gas, not even counting everything else that you're paying just to go to work every day.
Yeah. But if you're making, bank in New York, I mean, you don't care. Like that's only for lower class people. That's what it is. It's a poor tax.
The peasants, at least they're off the roads. We can travel freely.
Why don't they just if they were really concerned about emergency responders and police and whatever else, right? They could literally make a dedicated lane just for emergency responders.
That's right.
Could they not? Can you say, okay, anybody that's getting caught in this lane, you're getting your license revoked or something else like in that vein, right? Then you don't even have to do any of this tax BS. It's just a money grab. It's a revenue stream for New York City.
Even that would be unconstitutional. Listen. I worked my work. I bought a car.
Yeah.
My right is to have what I want, and I have a car. And I've already paid you to maintain and my use of the roads. And I'm even paying it double because I'm paying within the infrastructure bill, and then I'm paying on my taxes for my car. And then I'm also paying on taxes for when you repair the road. And then I'm paying on taxes for the people that fix the lights, and I'm paying on taxes for everything to do with my licensing. And then I pay for my insurance, and insurance has a part for me being on the road. So all of it. And then I have my license that I'm paying for in order to be able to ride the car that I already paid taxes on. So I'm already 5 taxes deep. And now you want to put another, just a driving by a camera fee for me entering into a location to get to my job to pay the other 5 taxes that you already have on me.
Yeah.
And so if you're not making enough from that, so you're going to think that an extra $15 from me is going to make that massive of a difference to you to make everything go away. That's your plan. Okay. So you couldn't manage money. A $15 swing per person. You couldn't manage that to try and put that in your budget, but somehow adding a $15 per person is going to make everything just poof, amazing. No, it's not. What it's going to do is make things more difficult for people who live there. And just like with Cali, people are just going to end up leaving. Now, here's a problem. Are you going to tax me on my way out? You will give me a fee on my way out while I'm leaving.
Yep.
I wonder if they'll tax me if I push the car. Does that constitute driving?
Right. Let me put this in perspective for people. Like the reason I say it's a poor tax is because what is the current minimum wage right now?
15, right?
Well, that's what it should be in New York or in some other places.
11,
but I'm saying the
12,
federal, the federal minimum wage isn't that much. Yeah. Right. So we're talking about 1 to 2 hours of your time is going straight to just getting into the city to go to work, and then getting another hour for you to work in order to get out of the city. That's before you even pay the taxes on everything else you have to do, your Social Security tax, right? Your payroll tax, like all those taxes, and then sales tax, and your city tax and your state tax and your federal tax and just tax all the way through.
And your electric bill and food price and just all this stuff. And it's a slap in the face to the American people that, especially the ones that are out there living paycheck to paycheck, the ones that are struggling every day. They're already trying to get to work on the bare minimum. Now you're trying to take whatever bare minimum they have, if they're driving, not taking public transportation, the bare minimum they have to last them to get them to and from work. Now you're charging them and you're taking that bare minimum. Now they have to find a way to catch up and make that extra $15. But what if the American people, like in perfect world, it's like, screw it, we're not going to stop driving, because at the end of the day, this is to try to limit the amount of vehicles on the road, correct? So what if nobody limited it? What if people were just like, oh, we'll pay it, and the same amount of cars just stay there? Then what's next?
Yeah, so the basic minimum wage in New York is $14.20 or $15 an hour. So they're basically charging you an hour of your wage,
your work.
That's crazy.
if you're minimum wage.
So why not spend money on widening the roads? How about that? How about you use your infrastructure money and actually do something with the infrastructure? Or how about this? You shut down the homeless camps that you got going on, and any old dilapidated buildings, you break them down and you make new roadways. Wait, that's part of your job that you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing that because you like that portion of town to look run down. It's by design. I get you now. That makes sense, Hochul. You and your disciples. Is that what you call them? Her disciples or something like that?
Probably.
And the thing is, they're trying to force everybody on public transportation. And if you've been to New York and rode the subways, or even trying to catch a taxi or any type of transportation within the city, it's almost impossible sometimes, unless you're from there. You know how to navigate. You know how to navigate around. But do you ever go on a subway in New York at peak time? No. They can't support the amount of people if they stop driving. Even the public transportation couldn't support it.
Well, that's not even the worst part about that. I mean, think of all the stories that we've heard of people getting pushed in front of trains or raped on the train, right? So like you're wanting to take an already dangerous place, right?
Make it more so.
Full of people and put more people into it.
It's Gotham. They want Gotham. They want Gotham.
That's what they're getting. Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Right. So you got all the homeless people and the crazy people in the subways, right? Another Daniel Penny's going to happen because of this stupidness. And they're going to just like, everybody needs to stop driving, right? You need to take public transportation, even though it's dangerous and you might get pushed in front of a subway because of a hobo.
Now imagine having to work a job like a night shift or graveyard, and you're a female. Listen carefully to how this is going to turn out really bad. You now have to wait on a road after dark for a ride that hopefully arrives on time while waiting in an area that may be, dangerous to your sex. And if something happens, wrong place, wrong time, sorry. Because how many people have they apprehended for that? Not very many.
No.
Okay, now this is also an echo to the people who look like me and Mike. This is a direct attack on you. I hope you realize this. This is making your life harder. Suppose you spend money to get yourself a car, and because you know the situations out there, and they decide to say, "No, we're going to tax you on the car," and you decide, "Fine, I don't want to pay that $15," and you decide to take public transportation. Who's going to be the most affected by that? You. So if you want, hey, this is something they know it. If you ever had doubts about the Democrats being racist, I think they should put your qualms to rest, because they are.
Yeah, and this is only the beginning. The next step is going to be like, okay, we said every car, if you have an electric vehicle, you don't have to pay the tax. So it's kind of, that's what I said. It's always going to lead back to the Green New Deal. Hey, if you live in New York and you have an electric vehicle, you can drive on this road freely without any taxes, without any fees. So then people are like, man, in the end, in the long run, I'm actually saving money if I buy an electric vehicle. I don't have to pay this $15 a trip. And I can go as many times as I want to the city. Yeah. So they got to understand, man, the Green New Deal, New York's going to be the hub of the Green New Deal. The
only people that can afford electric vehicles right now are like upper middle class, not even upper middle class, like a little bit above middle class or at like upper middle class. They can afford electric vehicles. Everybody else is just effed. Right? Because like Yeah, you can't afford that. I mean, like, what, the base price of any electric car right now is above $40,000.
Yeah, I mean,
Right? It's like
our
that's not affordable for most people, especially
our
with inflation
electrical
now.
our electrical grid couldn't even support that many freaking. They
Especially in
couldn't support
Texas, man. Or I mean,
our
California. Sorry, not Texas.
our electrical grid, you know, just in general couldn't support that many electrical vehicles. I
Yeah.
mean, it couldn't even withstand a winter storm in Texas. What makes you think is going to withstand that many vehicles being plugged into the grid? You know, at the end of the day, you know, it goes a lot deeper than what we see on the surface, and we'll always say that here. You know, they're just showing us the surface. If you start getting down in the roots of what their real plan is, it'll scare a lot of people. So New Yorkers just need to do what they do. They're loud and proud. Show us that you're loud and proud. Show us that you're not going to abide by these rules and these regulations. They can't arrest everybody. What are they going to do? Well, what are they going to do?
Don't worry about the law. They can't arrest
Send the
us all.
National Guard.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do?
So the cheapest you can get an electric vehicle used is $18K. So I want people to put this into perspective. If you are struggling to get a $4,000 car just to get to work, because that's usually you get a nice beater, but it operates good in town, gets fairly good in town mileage. You get some tires on there, you know. So you probably spend 5 to 8K on a car. Now they're telling you that you can't have that. You need to have, like in Washington State, their plan is by 2030 to eradicate. You can't own, you can't buy, and you can't trade anything that's a gas vehicle or diesel. You have to have an electric vehicle. I can only hope that that gets overturned by the next governor, but no doubts that might not happen. So you're telling people that they have to go now from budgeting for a $5,000 to $8,000 car to a $10,000 to $18,000 car if you get it used, to $35,000 to $45,000 car. So they want you to live rich and be broke.
While you're spending 50% of your income on your rent anyway.
On my rent.
That's right.
Amazing, huh? Go Democrats. You guys really know how to reform funding. I tell you, you guys are the best on the world. I can see why people like you, because you just know how to manage money. You stinking worthless pieces of anyway.
They like I said, they just like tax me harder. That's all they ever say. Tax me harder.
Just crazy to me. In any case, there's your catch-up news for the week. I want to make sure I follow this impeachment thing. I don't know if it'll go anywhere. Republicans have no spine. I hear Kevin McCarthy said he's going to step down from everything political come the end of his term. So that's one piece of good news.
Good news, everyone.
If we can make every rhino do that, I would be so happy. Oh my gosh. Just have them all quit. That'd be so good.
They're all going to join the Democrats.
That's okay. Let them go over there. Let them go.
Oh yeah. You'll see a lot of them. You'll see a lot of these rhinos flip parties closer to the election if the election happens. If Donald Trump is the nominee, which he will be, you're going to see a lot of these rhinos jump ship. You're going to see it. They're going to be like, I can't support a party that supports this man. And they're going to leave. And that's a good thing. Because then we can get true conservatives and not Republicans. You know, everybody calls us on the right Republicans. We're not Republicans, man. That's a party name. That's like a team that they force us to sign and put our name next to it.
Yeah.
Our ideology is conservatism. The title is Republican, two different things. And you're going to see a lot of these Republicans jump ship and become a Democrat. And the true conservatives.
This is going to be the first real party switch.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say too. I was wanting to make that joke. It's like, you mean we're going to have a party switch?
A legit one. This will be the first. This will be the only legit party switch, because you'll see nearly half the party switch, and that would be a party switch.
Yeah.
I would call it more of a party vacation, because they would all vacate the Republicans and go straight over to the Democrats, and we might end up with a uniparty at that point.
Yeah. Well, look at Nikki Haley being pushed by all the PACs and the establishment people. So.
Watch her pick Liz Cheney as her running mate too.
Oh God! But
nobody in their right mind should support Nikki Haley.
It's two women. Yeah. Listen here, it's two women, one of a minority, and one who is pro-Democrat that says she's a Republican. That would be the ultimate ticket for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised
to lose.
Just understand that whenever the mainstream media, and this is normal, if the mainstream media is pushing the left-wing media is pushing someone on the right as hard as they're doing with Nikki Haley. She can't be trusted.
No,
you can't trust her.
She's compromised.
You want the left stream media to hate the candidate like they hate Trump. That's why I'm voting for Trump, because I want the candidate everybody hates. Because you have to ask yourself, why do they hate him? Because they're scared of him. They're scared he can't be bought. Vote for who you want to vote for, but I know who I'm voting for if it happens, which I don't think it's going to happen. But
Nikki Haley is compromised, and she has business ties to military contracts. If you want to go to war and keep going to war, vote for Nikki Haley, because that's all you're going to get with her. Is like she benefits directly from getting involved in these conflicts overseas and contracts. So do not trust her.
It is what it is at this point too. Yep. In either case, we'll probably talk this week more about what's the shakeup that's coming. Might want to do a response to that town hall he did with Hannity. That might not be a bad
just
concept
video. Yeah,
just to laugh at it. So if you guys have other options, just of course, I haven't gotten any emails from anybody about topics yet from new audience members. So make sure you send if you have it, and if you don't have it, come up with one. We'll listen to you. Otherwise, we'll be back on Friday, and not this Saturday, but the following Saturday we'll have our Rumble event. So,
and don't forget, like the bully thing is still out there on the table. You know, there's something going on right now that we're going to address. We just got to look over it. But you know, when you're bullying kids, man, you will be exposed, because people like that don't deserve to have a platform.
No,
us adults, I could take it. You know, I can try it with me. I can take it. But when it comes to like little kids, there's no need for it. So we will show your face as soon as we get more info, either here or on the Hooch. But either way, we're going to show people who you are.
Bet money. So in either case, we'll catch you guys on Friday. Do not ignore the sharing and commenting and liking of our posts. Make sure you get the word out there, so we can start rivaling all these other people out there who say they are about the truth, but they're not. They're one-sided, but we are definitely about both sides being exposed equally. So we'll catch you guys on Friday. Until then, this is the Savage Patriot signing out. Peace.